So you want to be a fighter. Everybody wants to be a fighter. It's a little different than people realize. Hi, friends. It's Adam, the crippled cannabis cowboy. Thanks for watching my video on, I don't know, my opinions on being a fighter and the difference of the mentalities from being a fighter to a warrior. If you think this kind of shit helped you, subscribe to my channel. Help me out a little bit. You think you got what it takes? Everyone thinks they got what it takes. There's like a misinterpretation of being a fighter and being a warrior. Like being a fighter, it's cool, it's a lot of fun, but remember I don't want to say just a fighter, but you're in a phase. So to be a warrior, like everybody wants to be a warrior, but it's not like what people think. If I had a choice, now that I know, if there was a multiple choice thing, I would mark it off. I'd be like, fuck that. I don't want to be a warrior. I don't want to be a fighter. I've never in my life wanted to be ordinary until now. That's usually how it works with being a fighter. With the whole fighting thing, there's an aspect, and I think, or a perspective. Perspective. I mix up those two words constantly. There's a difference between being a fighter and being a warrior. Like there's a few avenues that I noticed. There's the physical being a fighter, there's the mental, and then there's the spiritual side. And the same thing with the warrior kind of thing. If you walk in those kind of shoes, you're going to be tested. The physical aspect's always going to challenge you anyway. But your brain is going to start going back and forth. So with the mentality of being a fighter, it can drive you bonkers. You got to really pay attention to it. You kind of, at first you don't know what's coming, so you just got to be ready to fight. But then after you learn some of the things, you kind of pick your battles. Some of those battles I could pick myself, and some I don't have a choice. Now, well, I don't want to say that. There's always the choice to run. And I think that's what deciphers being a warrior and being a fighter. Because you could run if you're a fighter, which is fine. But if you're a warrior, that's different. You have to use smarts. You have to use your intelligence about it. It's not just a knee-jerk reaction. That's kind of the fighter type, fight or flight thing. That's neat. There's a phrase for that, fight or flight. With a warrior, it's a little different. For me, for example, I was dealt some cards. I gotta play. I got no choice. So I don't have those choices of being a fighter or I can fight this. I have to. So that kind of deciphers whether or not you're a fighter and a warrior, because you can always, be the better man or whatever, turn the cheek or whatever those phrases are. They're not bad, but I think there's positions that they serve better than others. If you're a warrior, it's kind of like you have no choice. You're looking at this fight. You could run from it, but you know it's going to catch up with you and it's going to beat you. So you got to figure out how to beat it so it doesn't stop. It goes on every day. It goes on after you clock out. It goes on when you're trying to sleep, especially when you're trying to sleep. So there's a lot of avenues to it. The longer you're in the game, you're going to learn stuff about yourself, your tolerances, your levels. You're going to understand that it's not so easy and it's not something that you want to do. So this whole I want to be a fighter thing, it's different. I was the physical fighter, I was the mental fighter, and I was or am the spiritual fighter. and they get worse, is what I'll say. Not worse, but they get more challenging if you decide to be a fighter. That's kind of like that's like the first step. You decided to fight, you step it up to the plate, it's time to fight. Then there's the mental, then there's the physical, then there's the spiritual. Sooner or later, after you learn the ropes, you're going to notice a graduation being a warrior. So it's kind of like you start as fighter, you go to warrior. So it's like a gauge kind of thing. And it's not a pleasant gauge. So if you think this is pleasant in any way, there's a big rude awakening coming to you. So figure out where you are on this spectrum of being a fighter or being a warrior. Take all the information in, take a look at it, see what's happening with you, and see where you can improve. That's one thing I noticed when it comes to either or, being a fighter or being a warrior. You always want to improve your position.